Hello guys, I'm back yet again with a full force. Welcome to MJ School of Mining and Geology YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment so that we keep producing this kind of a content. But above all, please hit the notification button so that you keep notified once we upload new content. Today we are dealing with a very interesting topic known as the Greenstone belt. I'm sure you must be asking yourself, what exactly are these Greenstone belts? All right, well, Greenstone belts are just the ancient remnants of oceanic crust which are occurring right between the granite gneiss complexes, or what we call, or they were later intruded upon by what we call the TTGs. So stay tuned. Let me take you through the concept of the Greenstone belt. Now, basically, like I said, the Greenstone belts, they are just defined as in simple terms, they are ancient remnants of oceanic crust, which happens or occurs within the TTGs or within the granite and granite gneisses. All right. So Greenstone belts are generally elongate, Archaean to Paleoproterozoic terrains named for their green color imparted by chlorite minerals within rocks which are variably metamorphosed to ultramafic volcanic sequences associated with sedimentary rocks. And occur, this is the most important part, they occur between granite and granite gneiss complexes, or between granite and granite bodies. So basically, this is the definition of what a greenstone belt is. So let's discuss it further. Greenstone belts, they are elongate or they are linear. Basically, a greenstone is just a rock, a mafic to ultramafic rock that is green in color. All right, but now why belt? The belt, it came from the fact that these greenstones, they are linear, they are elongate, and they are parallel to each other, which is why they say now rather we say we just don't have to say or we not just have to say greenstones. We should just add now the belts, because these things, they are generally elongate, linear, and they are parallel to each other. And these rocks, they are of Archaean to Paleoproterozoic in age. All right, and obviously they are green colored because of the green mineral called chlorite. All right, and then now these rocks, they are variably metamorphosed mafic to ultramafic volcanic sequences. Why are they metamorphosed now? Because these rocks are oldest rocks because of the Archaean age. Now, because they are old, it means they've underwent a series of tectonic deformation, which is why they are metamorphosed. They were metamorphosed into what we call the green schist to amphibolite facies, green schist to amphibolite facies. All right, because of the effect of metamorphism. And now these oldest rocks, they occur between granite gneiss complexes. Now, greenstone belts are made up of early Archean rocks known as the oldest preserved material on Earth's surface, and they are important in deciphering the evolutionary history of the Earth Earth's crust. Or if we want to understand the evolution of the early oceanic and continental crust, the seas, and also the atmosphere, we use these greenstone belts to understand the ancient Earth's crust. All right. A greenstone belt is, like I said, is an ancient remnant of oceanic crust, all right, which now formed within the Proterozoic granite craters. All right. Now, all rocks in greenstone belts are metamorphosed to low-grade green schist to amphibolite fascies and are strongly sheared and deformed because of the underwent series of deformation because they are old. All right. Now, and then if you can also check here on your left, on your far right hand side, you will see that these green colors, the what do you call the greenstone belts, and as you can see, they are elongate. They are elongate and they are linear and they are parallel to each other. They are parallel to each other, and now they were intruded upon by granite intrusion or granite gneiss complexes. All right, which is why we're saying these greenstone belts, they occur between the granite gneiss complexes. But not only that, but now these greenstone belts, even though they were originally horizontal, now they show these syncline structures because of the compressional forces. The greenstone belts, like I said on the definition, that these rocks, they are green in color because of the mineral chlorine, which is a green mineral. So the green mineral, which is chlorine, it gives the greenstone belts the green color. All right, and now these rocks were metamorphosed into a low grade, and we understand the metamorphic fascies, that the low grade metamorphic fascies, especially in regional metamorphism, we're talking the green schist and amphibolite fascies and many others. But now for this case, we're talking about the green schist and amphibolite fascies. All right, and that now these rocks, because of the effect of deformation, they were deformed into a U-shaped structures or some synclines, and of course a bit of anticlines. All right, although now they are deeply eroded, so which is why on the surface of the earth they would appear elongate, parallel, and linear, but below the surface of the earth we would see these synclinal structures. All right, so this is known as what we call a dome and keel a diagram. All right, or it's a simplified diagram showing what you call dome and keel of these, which is a typical structural form of the greenstone belts. All right, so now these orange domes are known as TTGs, wherein a TTG, the first T stand for tonalite, trondhjemite, and granodiorite, and are surrounded by green mafic and ultramafic rocks. That is to say, these TTGs, they are surrounded by the mafic to ultramafic sequences known as the greenstone belts, which is why we are saying the greenstone belts, they occur right between the TTGs. But now the main constituents of these rocks is interlayered volcanic ultramafic to mafic rocks, which make up which make up 10 to 50% of the belt. All right, so it means the greenstone belts, almost 50% of these greenstone belts is mafic to ultramafic volcanic rocks. All right, and then probably we're talking comatiites, because of the comatitic magma intruded into the axis of the mid-oceanic ridge. All right, so the mid-oceanic ridge we find today, it has got different composition from the from the mid-oceanic ridges that were there in the early stages of our Earth. All right, so compositionally comatiites to comatitic basalt and phtholites. So that's what the greenstone, these ultramafic to mafic rocks are. So these mafic to ultramafic rocks, we're talking comatiites to comatitic basalts and phtholites. All right, and we're talking also the all right. We're talking also the sediments such as tubidites and greywackies, and of course meta-argillites, and quartzite sheds, barites, and of course banded iron formations. All right, which are surrounded by what we call TTGs. So which is why we're saying greenstone belts, they occur between the TTGs. All right, now if I were to give you the with example of the Barberton Greenstone Belt as a typical frame of reference, you would agree with me that the sediments such as tubidites and greywackies, we know that especially these rocks, they are they are unsorted, so they occur mainly in the fig tree group within oceanic trenches. With respect to what we call the Barberton Greenstone Belt. But now these mafic to ultramafic rocks, especially comatiite, we expect them to be associated with what we call the onverwacht group of the Barberton supergroup. So and now other rocks, other clastic sedimentary rocks will be associated with the upper group of the Barberton, known as the Moody's. So these rocks, I just wanted to show you that they've got, we see them in the Barberton supergroup. So basically, just know that the greenstone belts, they contain up to 50% of mafic to ultramafic rocks, and the remaining percent will be shared amongst the sediments. Why are these greenstone belts important? The greenstone belts, especially of these greenstone belts of Archaean age, are very important in understanding the compositional nature of the mental processes and the tectonic settings that were common in the early Earth. If we want to understand the evolutionary history of the ancient oceanic crust and continental crust, we would understand that through the Archaean greenstone belts. This is because they contain some of the earliest records of the planet's lithospheric history. All right. The complex geological environment, for example, the earliest known records, we also talking, or the earliest life forms in the greenstone belts, we talking carbon specks. All right. So the complex geological environment seen in the Greenstone belts is made up of rocks from many tectonic regimes that are in close proximity to one another. Yes, we expect the Greenstone belts to be in close proximity, and as per definition. So we said the Greenstone belts, they are elongate and they are akin to Paleoproterozoic, and these greenstone belts, they are green in color because of the mineral chlorite, but now they also occur within or between the TTGs. All right. Now, so the reason these greenstone belts, they are in close proximity to one another is because of they parallel to one another and they are separated by the TTGs or the granite gneiss complexes. These belts comprises volcanic rocks in the lower and middle lithospheric or lithological units, and sedimentary in the upper units. I would always refer you to Barberton Greenstone belt, and then please also visit our video on the Barberton Greenstone belt for more information or to understand the stratigraphy of the Greenstone belt. All right, because the Barberton is used as the frame of reference because it is mostly studied and it contains almost complete record of all the rocks we expect to find within the Greenstone belts. So and then we must understand that the lower units of all the Greenstone belts, they are of volcanic origin. All right, and then but now the upper sequences, they are of sedimentary origin. All right. Now, the structure of greenstone belts, like we said, these greenstone belts, they show what we call synclines or U-shaped structural forms. All right. So these are the synclines. These are the synclines. All right. You can see this is a syncline. Now, why these synclines? Because of the effect of compressional forces due to tectonic deformation. Now, because now these rocks are old, they underwent a series of tectonic deformation, which is why they are folded on themselves. All right. So this is a very complicated. Or these are very complicated rocks. All right, because of the deformational history. Yes. So these structures were formed due to tectonic deformation. That is to say, compressional forces forming some synclines, and some anticlines, but mainly the structure of these greenstone belts are synclines. All right. Now, but because of the effect of erosion, you'd now expect to see on the surface, you'd expect to see where they are exposed. You'd see these greenstone belts which are parallel to one another and then separated by TTGs. All right. Now, although originally they were horizontal, I mean, a period, according to the principles of stratigraphy, that sediments are initially deposited horizontally in all directions. All right, because of these volcanic mafic to ultramafic rocks, they are associated with metasedimentary, or they're associated with some sediments. All right, so these rocks originally were horizontal, but now they've been folded on themselves, like I've indicated that they are folded on themselves. Okay, and then now the oldest now form the outer parts of the belt, while the younger rocks lies in the core. All right, the younger rocks, they lie in the core. in the core. The younger rocks, they lie in the core, all right, because of the effect of tectonic deformation. This is because these rocks are old, thus they experienced a series of tectonic deformation. Okay, of course, they are extremely complicated. Okay, why? Because you see these volcanic mafic to ultramafic rocks, associated with some sedimentary rocks, and then now all of that, and then also with associated with the granite gneiss complex. But now all of these rocks, they are folded on themselves. All right. These rocks have been intruded by large bodies of granites, right? So they were intruded upon by TTGs. Okay. Now, although seem parallel on the surface due to long-term erosion, these rocks deep under the surface of the earth, they have some synclinal structures. You can see now on the surface, they appear to be parallel, to be linear, to be elongated, but now deep within the crust, you would expect to see these synclines. So through the, if we can use some geophysical methods or other methods, you will be able to pick up these structures. So now, this is a typical example of the two greenstone belts. These are two greenstone belts, and these greenstone belts, they are separated by some granites, all right, or some TTGs or some felsic components, all right, which this picture would support our definition that greenstone belts, they are separated by the TTGs or by the granite gneiss complexes. All right. Yes. Now, and then we said the lower lithological units are of mafic to ultramafic in composition, and then the top part are mainly sedimentary in origin. All right. So you understand more or to visualize the definition of what greenstone belts are. All right. So greenstone belts have been formed in back arc extensional basins within the interiors of protocontinents, and also, of course, by the model called island arc model. So basically, the greenstone belts, they were proposed to be formed by two models. All right, and then these two models, I would say, each model would support a definition, of what greenstone belts are. For example, the back arc extensional or the back arc model would explain perfectly why we are having these syncline or synclinal structures. All right, it perfectly explains why we are having these synclinal structures. But now, it does not really explain why we are having greenstone belts being parallel to one another. All right, or they are in close proximity to one another. It does not really explain that. All right, but now it explains why we've got some synclinal structures. On the other hand, the island arc model explains beyond any reasonable doubt why we are having greenstone belts parallel to one another, being separated by the granites. All right. Yes. So which is why we're saying this model each has got their fallbacks, but what am I saying? Sorry. But these models are widely known to describe the formation of the Greenstone belt. All right. So the first model we tackle is the back arc model. This model, if you can check here, we have got these island arcs. All right. Remember, these island arcs were formed wherein we had an oceanic crust being subducted. All right. But now, as this oceanic crust was subducted, because of what we call or what we call the flux melting will occur, and then we form these island arcs. All right. Now, with time, these island arcs would undergo what we call a splitting and or extension. All right. Now, as they're extending, as they are stretching like that, creating what you call planes of weakness, it is thinning the crust. So if you can check now, this was very thick, but now because of extension, we are thinning the crust. The crust is thinned out. Now, because of the crust is now thin, the would be the basalts which will be will fill this basin. All right. Now, immediately after that, with time, there's gonna be what we call compressional forces. Then now, whatever rocks, any rock which was there in the basin would undergo compression, or it will be compressed, and then now forming these nicely synclinal structures, which is why we're saying this model explains beyond reasonable doubt why Greenstone belts are having these synclinal structures. Right, this back arc model, which is why we're saying, according to the back arc model, this island arc splits and the crust thins as a result of extension. Basalts are then created as the mantle beneath melts. All right, because the crust now is thin, then now the crust, the mantle would start to melt, and then producing the basaltic magma, which would now intrude into this basin. All right. The island arcs pyroclastic deposits and clastic sediments cover the basalts when they erupt onto the basin floor. All right. So it means this basin floor was erupted upon by the basalts. Now, but because of the effect of we know weathering and erosion would take place. Now, these island arcs will be eroded, would undergo weathering and erosion, and then now these things would fill the basin. All right. A syncline is created upon closure of the back arc, and TTGs would later intrude onto it. All right. But now this procedure can be carried out multiple times, which is why we are having these greenstone belts here. These greenstone belts here, they are having these syncline structures, and they were intruded upon by at the later stage by what you call the granite intrusions. All right. So this model, the back arc model, can now see that it explains well why we are having greenstone belts with some syncline structures. So we formed the island arcs, and then we had this back arc basin. And then with time, okay, because of extension, we are thinning the crust, and then the mantle will melt, then producing the basalt, which will erupt onto this basin. And then now the erosion or weathering of erosion and weathering of the island arcs will deposit the sediments onto the basin, all right, burying the basalts, and then all these will be intruded by at the later stage by the TTGs. So this is the backup model, which explains better why we are having the synclines. On the other hand, the island arc model, as you can see here, we are having these island arcs. And then these island arcs obviously were produced because of the subductions, and we produced these island arcs. But now these island arcs are separated by the oceanic crust, but because of compression, this oceanic crust, it will be consumed, and then allowing the sedimentary rocks wedged or trapped between these island arcs to be squeezed or to be heated and compressed into granite gneiss complexes. All right, now, which is why you see this greenstone belt or carrying between the proto-continents. All right, with this model, greenstone belts represent old ocean crust between proto-continents, near subductions. Here you can see these are near subductions, and then you've got these greenstone belts between the proto-continents. Okay, when now the proto-continents collided, they collapsed the ocean, or they consumed the ocean. The oceans filled with basalt and flies to form the greenstone belts. All right, so you can also check this top, the uppermost picture, where we would assume we've got these island arcs which piled up. We've got these island arcs which piled up. But now, because of the effect of plate tectonics, the ocean crust will be consumed, and then but now we've got these sedimentary rocks which are sedimentary rocks which are trapped or wedged between the island arcs. And then now during compression, as this ocean crust is being consumed, these sedimentary rocks will be heated and compressed into the granite gneiss complexes. All right, the island arc model suggests that there were several island arcs that piled up. Subduction processes led to the formation of this. The lower and middle mafic volcanic rocks are derived from the crust underlying the island arcs. All right, the crust underlying the island arcs. That's what brings the lower and middle mafic volcanic rocks. All right, yes, and then volcano-related deposits and the sediments that results are represented by the upper clastic and pyroclastic layers. All right, yes, because we would expect to see the during subduction would form these volcanic arcs, and then spewing some ashes or some pyroclastic material onto the surface, into the surface, and then those materials that will fall back. All right, and then as they settle, then now also because these basically exposed to weathering. All right, Now during weathering, these things they will be eroded and then be deposited into these oceanic trenches, right? Granite gneiss complexes are created when sedimentary rocks wedged or trapped between island arcs are heated and compressed, as I've explained. And synclinal structures are the result of compressive forces generated by the collision, right? And then at the later stage, these greenstone belts, they were intruded by the granites or TTGs. So this is island arc model. So in island arc model, plate tectonic played a major role. Plate tectonics played a major role because now the effect of convectional cells pushing these things together. All right, this model is responsible for the development of the greenstone belts, but not only the greenstone belts, but now the formation of microcontinents, and then but now not only the formation of those microcontinents, but those microcontinents would need to grow, all right? And then they would need to grow, and then they would grow due to the attachment. That's how these continents grow, right? That's how these continents grow. So which is why we say the island arc model, it is not only responsible for the formation of the greenstone belts, but also for the growth of the continental crust, right? Or what we call the microcontinents. Plates are in motion driven by convection cells. That one, we know it, that convection cells, they will be moving this way, making sure that the plates are in motion. Now, compression has occurred to create the greenstone belts with their synclinal form and to aggregate small continental patches into a larger continental mass, which is why I'm saying to form some supercontinents, we needed the effect of plate tectonics to make sure that the microcontinents, which were formed when island arcs were colliding, they must also collide, and then make sure that we have now larger land masses or larger, or what we call them, the supercontinents. All right, which is why we say this model does not only explain the formation of the greenstone belts, but also it explains the growth of the continental mass. Later, the granites intruded the greenstone belts, which is why the greenstone belts occurs between the TTGs, right, or between the granites. And these granites, or these intrusions, they were the ones which stabilized the island arcs so that they no longer undergo subduction. It's like now they were floating. Now, as they were floating, it means they will be there for as long as it takes until they get to collide, then giving us what we call the microcontinent. All right, now and then the stable parts of these continents are known as what we call cratons, and then cratons are this part of continental crust which survived many series of tectonic processes. All right, why? Because it is floating. So it is floating. It's not affected by the subductions, the deformations, and many other things. But on the edges, yes, they are affected, which is why now we say the stable part of the continental crust will be called a crater. Thank you so much for joining us today. Always know that your support is highly appreciated. We appreciate you. Um, um, we are nothing without you. Please, keep on commenting, keep on liking our content, keep on subscribing. If you're not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell below so that every time we upload a new content, you will be the first person to be notified. Until next time, cheers.